something we hope you'll really like.
You're listening to
Creating Daily. Yeah, we're the #1 live streaming show that I'm the host of.
Speaks to me. It's like he's saying what I'm thinking.
Streaming Live.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Creating Daily. I'm not really sure what happened there. My music cut off, my little intro cut off pretty early, but it doesn't matter because it's Friday, so Friday, everybody's having fun. If you're joining me, wherever you're joining me from, I'm multi-streaming to multiple places, but one place I'm going to be focused on a lot today is over on Amazon Live. So if you haven't joined me over there, go to billythorpe.live and join me, and be sure to unmute and follow over on Amazon as well. There's some goals I'm trying to hit with Amazon. I know a lot of you who watch this show know a little bit about that, but make sure you hit that follow button, hit that unmute button, and any of the products I'm going to share about today are going to be in that carousel. Now, this isn't really going to be a how-to or walkthrough. I really just want to share with you some big changes I've made as far as cameras in the last couple of weeks. I've been thinking about it for months and months and months of making a switch as far as cameras go, but I've just been on the fence because I've been a fan of Canon for so long, and I've had the Canon EOS RP. Before that, I had the Canon, I think like the T4. I've had the T4. I think I had the T7, the EOS RP. I've used the R5, but really, in all this scenario, I've just used it for live streaming. So basically, I've had this really elaborate live streaming camera, and I really loved Canon, but one thing that I didn't really care for was the autofocus wasn't super fast. So I'm making a little bit of a switch, but I still want to talk about the Canon EOS RP because it has been a workhorse of a camera for me. Now, my use case, and this is what, when you're really thinking about as a creator and you're thinking about a camera, you really want to think about all the use cases for it, okay? And so when I bought this camera, I thought I was really going to use it for a few different things, but I ended up using it for one thing. So once again, thanks for joining me. I'm going to have tons of fun today. If you're used to the show, I'm doing this week a little bit different format. I'm taking out some of the additional segments, that type of thing. And typically, I have a guest on who I will, have conversations about of how you as a creator can extend your journey, how you can, really give you some tips and tricks and strategies of how to crush your content creation goals. But this week, it's been a little bit different. I've had some family in. We just transitioned back from a big move, all those fun things. I'm in a new studio space. The AC is still not working. So hopefully fingers crossed, that is fixed by next week because it's been tolerable, but it's not been amazing. So also, before I get started, I want to give a shout out to Liquid Death. You can see these guys behind me as I'm still working on what to do back here. I've always kept a pretty simple setup. Maybe I'll keep it simple, but I'm really wanting to add some pizzazz to it. So if you have any ideas, let me know. But right now, I'm just putting random stuff in the background, like my guitar and some Liquid Death. So Liquid Death sent me a bunch of different flavors. They got a mango flavor, a lime flavor, a berry flavor. They sent me the regular sparkling water and the regular water as well. I did a live stream all on that yesterday. It was super amounts of fun, but just want to make sure I do a good job for these guys and give them a shout out that they deserve because their water is delicious. All right, I got Nee over here says, let's trade the RCP OG for that camera. I don't think so. You know what? Let me show you my overhead shot here, Nee, and you can see what I'm talking about. I'm using the P4. So this is also in the carousel. I'm using the P4. Maybe I'll talk about it if you guys are interested. But my RCP, which by that Nee is talking about a Rodecaster Pro, mine is in that FedEx box getting ready to go to the FedEx store and get shipped off to California for some repairs. So I don't know what the future of my input devices are for my microphones, but we'll see. We'll see what that looks like. But I'm definitely not trading this camera for a Rodecaster Pro because it's worth probably several $100s more than that. But anyway, let's talk about this camera just for a minute. Now, this is just the body of the Canon EOS RP. And I love this camera. I used it mostly in manual mode. I'm going to see if there's I get the battery somewhere. I could turn it on and show you. But I've used it mostly in manual mode. It works great in low light conditions, but it does, you can tell it like doesn't come with a lens. Depends on how you buy it. It might come with a kit lens, which I don't really recommend doing that. I recommend buying a different lens other than kit lenses. But I got the 35 millimeter RF 35 millimeter, the RF 50 millimeter, and also I've used the regular EF 16 to 35, I believe it was. I recently just got rid of it. I put it in the carousel because it was an amazing lens. It had image stabilization and all that kind of stuff. So kind of pros and cons about this camera. One, like I said, it's a workhorse. It fits great in the hand. It's not like super, super huge like some older Canons are. It's got the flip out screen. You can you can kind of maneuver it whichever way you want to or fold it in. Super, super great camera. Worked great. And then what I loved about it was the autofocus on the eyes. So I loved that you could do the retina focus. And the autofocus in general was fairly good until I started watching people who were using Sony's. And I was like, in my Ecamm Live community that I'm a part of, and I was like, wow, that's like really fast. Like when they did this, it focused on the camera, and then when they didn't, it focused on them. When they did this, it focused on, the product or whatever. And I'm like, okay. And so I tried my very best to get this camera to do that, and I just couldn't. So that is the only reason, honestly, the only reason I'm getting rid of this camera. But it is a great camera. It is a workhorse. So, I would recommend this for somebody who's doing much more than me. Like I'm basically putting a camera on a tripod, or whatever. Maybe I'm doing some vlogging, but not very much. And this camera was overkill for what I was trying to accomplish, honestly. Now, this would be great if you're like, I need a live streaming camera. I also need, a photography camera. I want to go do some other creative things with my Canon camera. I think this would be a phenomenal buy for you. Like if you're trying to get into photography, for a budget-friendly, camera body, the EOS RP is great, and the autofocus is great. The image, and once again, I didn't use it for photography, but for live streaming, everything worked awesome. And it also has like an HDMI out. And then it has USB out, and both of those, HDMI out to USB converter would get me into Ecamm pretty easy. And then if you're using Ecamm, if you're a Mac user, the USB out will just automatically connect. Now there is a little trick, and I can't remember what it is because it took me forever to find it. And I actually made a YouTube video about it, so. Maybe I can dig that up, and if you're interested, just go follow me at the Billy Thorpe on Instagram, and I'll send you a message with the link. But I was able to find a way to do clean HDMI out on this camera, and there's a couple other little quirky things I could not figure out at first. But yeah, so there it is. There is the Canon EOS RP. I love it, and I'll talk about a few of the lenses too that I use, or some of the accessories I use. So one is the 35 millimeter, the RF 35 millimeter. Now this does have like autofocus, manual focus, image stabilization, all that kind of stuff. This is a killer lens. I should have loaded in some pictures, but I was actually taking pictures of like ants like carrying cereal up the wall. It was pretty insane. The coffee bean. I took a picture of a coffee bean with this. So this is the Macro 1.8. And it is just a phenomenal lens. I'm actually a little sad to part with this. I wish I could, I wish I could justify holding on to this camera and holding on to this lens as well. But I also live stream with this as well. This is my live stream camera, and with the 1.8, kind of gave this same effect, like the blurry background, all that kind of stuff. So pretty great lens. I mean, for the money, I think this thing is, let's see what it is here. I'm talking about all these cameras. I'm not highlighting them in the carousel. I apologize. Let me jump over here to my app. Let me highlight the Canon EOS RP in the carousel, which I think it was in the first lineup there. Anyway, I'll highlight the 35 millimeter 1.8. So yeah, right now I'm the one that I've listed here is $449. It's showing a 10% off. discount. Super great lens. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I have to say about it. And once again, I used it for live streaming. So between this camera and this lens, I had a really expensive live streaming camera. So anyway, but the autofocus, really, look at this. And I'm going to talk about this camera, and I'm going to talk about what this camera is. The next thing here that I use with this camera, with the Canon EOS RP, is the 50 millimeter, the RF50. Once again, super great camera. It's got a control ring on it that you can set up and manually assign an action to that. So that was pretty cool. And then you can do manual focus as well. So really for like, a nifty 50, as they would probably call it in the industry, in the Canon world, like, a nifty 50, the RF version, it is really, really a great camera as well. So, or a great lens as well. So this was one that, I would just put in my bag. I would just have this in my bag no matter what. If you're a photographer, and the reason why I came across Canon is I consulted with a photographer friend of mine, and he was like, dude, this is like a portrait lens for sure. You could do that. You could get a wide angle and do, real estate stuff or whatever. So many ideas, for that. So there you go. There's the 50. And then the other accessory I have for this one, and I think this is a good one to have if you're going to buy a Canon camera that is RF. They haven't really released all the lenses. So if you have, an EF camera, you can get this mount adapter. This is an EF to EOS R mount adapter there, and you can mount all EF lenses to it. So that was the 16 to 35 that I put in the carousel. That is the one that I used this Canon adapter with. And it worked great. Obviously it extended the lens that much, but it doesn't really weigh that much. So it wasn't like you're like, I carried it around one time and took pictures of an event that actually the pictures turned out horrible because, once again, I'm not a photographer. But it worked. It worked pretty great. So I would definitely have one of these, especially if you have friends that like me. I had a friend that is all Canon, and he has a ton of glass. And so it was like, oh yeah, I'll buy the $100 adapter, or the $199 adapter rather. Sorry, and then I'll just borrow his $500 lens, or $1,000 lens, or $1,200 lens, or whatever. So that was really a great perk. And it was his idea, so I'm not that just moochy friend. But anyway, so that's what I've been using. And the last thing I'll share that I totally recommend for all you live streamers out there is this little piece here. And that is, this is a Castar, I guess. I don't know how to say it, but it's an AC power adapter. So basically they'll call it like a dummy battery. And you can plug this thing in, plug it into your wall power, and literally go live. Oh, wow, what just happened there? Literally, okay, that didn't. So this is a problem. Actually, I'm glad this came up, because this is a problem that I've seen with the cameras that I have. So I'm going to try to get this thing to come back on, but I'm gonna share a little bit about that. But until then, I'll come over here. But this dummy battery is definitely something that I highly recommend that you get for your Canon EOS RP, and it's in that carousel as well. All right, cool. So now let me talk about the cameras that I switched them out for, and now I'm sweating even more. I'm like, oh no. Let me talk about the cameras I switched it out for, and why I'm waiting on a dummy battery for that. So let me try to go back here to my host cam. There we go. It came back on. So this is the Canon, or the Sony ZV-1. So I got a couple of these Sony ZV-1s, and I'm gonna bring this camera down. I got an over the head actually, you know what? I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna just grab this camera and kind of show you what I like so much about it. Just one second. Let me pop it off the tripod. I'll have to show you that tripod too, because it just made it super easy for me to do that. Okay, so this is the Sony ZV-1. I came across this camera because I was actually looking at the ZV-E10. In the ZV-E10, the biggest difference is the lens can come off, so you can switch out the lenses. Now, this is more like a point and click, or point and shoot, or whatever you call it, type of camera. The sensor is a tad bit smaller than like I think it's an ASPC or APC. I can't even remember. See, but it's not full frame. So I went from a Canon full frame camera, and now I'm at a smaller, so it's less sensitivity, all that kind of stuff. But this camera, I mean, look at it. Look at the size of it. It's pretty small. Now I do have a U-Rig thing on here that I can share with you. I should have put it in the carousel and talked about it. But for the most part, check this thing out. Like, if you're vlogging, now this is at 24 millimeters, so, and this is all the way out. So if I'm vlogging, this thing is super awesome. If I'm live streaming and doing like a roaming cam here in my studio, I can do, so right there, that's my Rodecaster Pro right there. I can do all this kind of stuff, and it's really super light versus my Canon EOS RP with the 24 millimeter lens on it would be super, super heavy. So yeah, you can check this out and do all kinds of stuff with it. Now, I was able to easily disconnect that from my Manfrotto little tripod there, but this camera, I mean, just the autofocus on it is insane. So like, watch this. Like, it has this product feature, this product setting where you can turn it on and it just recognizes products and back to you. I mean, it is kind of crazy. And on my RP, it was, it was a little bit challenging because I was always like trying to cover up my eyes and do this so I could show a product. If I was like trying to show this remote and like, oh, this is the the Godox RC whatever 40A5 remote, I was always like trying to cover up my my retinas, hide them retinas so we can get that picture. And I change every setting on it. I watch hours of video to try to figure it out. And Nee says you need some more lights. Yeah, I don't really need more lights. I don't want more lights. I probably can use. I probably could use another little light over here, or maybe like a little backlight, just to give some little splash. But I actually enjoy, a more cinematic kind of feel. Like what I'm getting here. I personally like that. I don't really care for like this big blown out shot, and that's why I use the light that I do and the softbox that I do, and do the brightness, because I like I like the contrast of light and dark and shadows and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, maybe it's more cinematic, maybe a big old goof, and I don't know what I'm talking about, but I just like it, and I've tried all those different things, and that's part of it too. It's like, do the lighting, get your camera set up, do all that kind of stuff in positions and ways that gives you confidence, because when you have confidence, you'll continue to show up, you'll continue to create content, you'll continue to sit in front of your camera. But if you go, oh well, so and so said I need more lights, but then it blows out your face and you see every little imperfection that you don't like, and if it doesn't give you confidence, so do what you want, do what looks good, and go watch a ton of tutorial videos on lighting, because that's a thing. So far, okay. So with the Sony ZV-1, what I like about it is like the lens. Let me see if I can do this without making a big old confusing mess here. So this is at 24, and I can zoom all the way in here. I can't remember exactly what it goes to. Maybe like 45 or something. So I can really zoom in there. Now this is bad lighting, so this doesn't work really great in low light because the sensor is so small. But it's all kind of fixed in there. Now, once again, if you are the person who needs versatility, like you want to be able to go out, record something, out in public, like whatever, like you want to go take pictures, you want to do whatever, I would look at maybe the ZV-10, or like I said, the Canon EOS RP, something with interchangeable lenses that you could buy multiple lenses for multiple use cases. For me, this works great. Like, I can vlog and be like, what's up, everybody? It's Billy over here. I'm at the studio, crazy, whatever. And that's it. Or I can just put it on a tripod, and I'll show you, I'll just click this back into a tripod. Easy does it. It's back on there. It's awesome. I have like a 10-foot, I think it's like a 10-foot USB cable. I have it plugged in. Now, this camera does have some funky stuff, okay? For whatever reason, Now, I didn't hit the power button on my power pack to charge this camera while it's going. So I do have 2 dummy batteries. They are on the way. I will incorporate them into a stream or a video. But right now I have it to where it will USB charge. And then this camera, I have it HDMI out to USB into my computer using a little capture card. And then I'm charging it via USB. So there's a couple of settings, and if you get this camera, just quickly go to Google and or type in, in YouTube or wherever, and maybe I'll do a shoppable video about it as well. But how do I, set this up for streaming? Because there's some stuff that you need to know. There's like an overheat setting, I'll call it, because if you don't click that and you're shooting in 4K, your camera can overheat. It is recommended that you keep the lens or the display, thing flipped open. Give that a little bit more breathing space or whatnot in the camera. So those are some of the things that I've learned about it pretty quickly. But as far as setup goes, I was able to get rid of a super heavy tripod and just mount this right to my desk. Now, if I bounce around or whatever, you might see it bounce around. I'm not really sure. I haven't really watched a ton of footage where I've been doing these live streams, so it might be a little distracting. It might move, but I literally have it mounted onto a microphone stand that clamp like a mount or like a boom arm connected right behind my computer. So here's the top of my laptop. Right there's the camera. I can reach it. I can change the settings, all that kind of stuff. Now, it doesn't have touch screen. The RP did, so I'm having to get used to going into the menu and stuff like that. But really, it's a killer camera. And the reason why I bought it is exactly for what I'm doing. I'm doing Amazon Live stuff. I'm trying to show products. I'm trying to talk about products. And this is the reason I bought it. Right there. That's it. The super autofocus. I love it. So anyway, all right, let's see what's going on in the chat. Nee is firing up the chat. He's talking about the Nifty 50. He says, I need some more lights. Absolutely. If I want more lights, once again, he says, okay, Diva. Nee is always supportive. He's the biggest supporter of the show. So really appreciate that. And he says, I almost bought one yesterday for $6.99, the Sony Cam. I love the ZV-1. It is pretty dope. So Nee, why don't you head over to billythorpe.live and get it over there. That would be really awesome. But anyway, now let me scroll through here and see what else I got going on. So I talked about the Canon EOS RP, talked about all the lenses. This microphone, I just put some stuff in here. Like this is the Shure SM7B. This is my favorite microphone for multiple reasons. One, I just like the way it looks. I love the way it sounds. You do need like a little FET head, which there's a FET head in the if you do not have the new Rodecaster Pro 2, you need some kind of preamp in between the microphone and the interface. So you're going to need a FET head, a cloud lifter, something to give it a little additional boost. So yeah, somebody just walked right in. I don't know who that was. Anyway, to figure that one out. That's kind of creepy. Maybe I'm going to change my desk around so somebody can't just walk into the back. But anyway, so that is kind of the setup that I'm using. So I got the Shure SM7B. I got the FET head, and it's connected right into my. Oh, this accessory's not working. Okay, let me just fix this real quick. There we go. This is the beauty of live streaming, right? Let me fix this. Oh, come on. There we go. All right, cool. There we go. All right, so here is the Zoom PodTrack P4. There's the FET head. There's the XLR cable going into my computer. And then I've done plenty of videos about the PodTrack P4. Right now, it is a substitute for my Rodecaster Pro, the original Rodecaster Pro. So it's a little substitute for that. And this camera is pretty. I mean, this. Here we go. Let's get a little better shot. But yeah, this thing is pretty sick. I mean, it works great. It doesn't have like noise cancellation and all that kind of stuff, like a noise gate, like the Rodecaster Pro does. But it's really handy, especially if you're traveling, if you're doing, something of that nature. Like the Zoom PodTrack P4 is great. I mean, look, I have an average size hand, and it's basically the size of my hand 4-channel in. It'll take a TRRS for your phone, USB, all that kind of fun stuff. Sound effects. I don't know what's on that sound effects. I'm not going to trigger it. But really, really great device. I've done plenty of videos about that, but if you have any questions, let me know there in the chat. And I have my SM7B hooked into it. Now, listen, here's the thing with all this stuff. Like, you don't need all the crazy stuff to do a live show or to do a podcast or whatever you're looking at. I have literally just added stuff along the way as I'm going. And I've used what I've had. Okay, so this isn't really like, hey, Billy Thorpe here, and go buy the SM7B or go buy the PodTrack or the Rodecaster Pro. It's really start with what you have, but if technology is like keeping you from getting your message out, that's the real goal here for Creating Daily, is to help content creators and help creators in general understand the things that they don't so they can move to another level in that space. Because that's what people did for me. They gave me opportunities to work. They gave me opportunities to learn. They gave me opportunities to figure this stuff out. They gave me opportunities to go get trained in different areas. And so now it's kind of like my time to say, hey, let me show you. And I'm still not, as you can tell, you still mess up. I didn't hit the power button on my power bank, so it wasn't charging my camera. So therefore, my camera died right in the middle of my live stream. However, what do? You switch over to your second camera and you keep going. You keep the show rolling. So hopefully, you watch and say, okay, this is like, this guy does this every day, and he's screwing it up. So hopefully I can too. Let's talk about a couple other products I've been using. This is the mounted boom arm. This thing is pretty good. There's better boom arm out there, but for the price, for that $69.99 price point, it does a really good job. Like it'll hold up this microphone, the SM7B. I also have, I don't have the Shot, but I got a couple of the Rode pod mics as well, and this thing's weigh like 2 pounds each, and this thing will hold it up, no problem. I've put, top over cameras down, all that kind of stuff, hung it on this. So it's adjustable a couple different ways. One thing I wish right here that it did was like adjust, manually with this whole piece, which it doesn't. You kind of have to turn this and then turn the microphone and then do all that kind of stuff. But then it has an adjustment here, an adjustment. I don't know if you can see this or not. No, you can't. Both shots, you can't see it. But anyway, it has 3-4 different adjustments, and it easily mounts to your desk. And the thing about it that I love about it is it mounts the weight of it over your desk. So let me do this. Let me grab this camera down because I want to show you this, because I think it's very important when you're looking for boom arms to look for what I'm about to show you. And I actually have 2 of these that are different, and one I like and one I don't. So let me see what this looks like. Let's go to phone. Okay, this is always doing that. All right, so there we go. So you can't really see it that great because I got a cable wrapped around it. But there's how it mounts onto. Are we kidding right now? All right, cool. That's what we're doing. All right, perfect. There we go. Phone is just being a big old pain. All right, that's why you don't use a 50-year-old phone. All right, let's see if we can do it again. Okay, here we go. So this is how it mounts. And if you look at it, the weight of the mount is over the table. All right, so let me switch over to this side so you can see the difference of what I'm talking about. So the weight of that mount, like I said, is over the table. And then if I look at this, the weight is not over the table. It's off the side of the table. So I would rather have that mount on the table. Like if this is the edge of the table, I'd rather have that mount here with the weight not here. Hopefully that makes sense. That's my wiggly camera, all that kind of fun stuff. But when you're looking for boom arms, in my opinion, that's really important, especially if you're going to invest money into a microphone, into any gear, really. I mean, not just expensive gear, but any gear. If you're going to buy it, you want to make sure that it's going to be well taken care of so it'll last you for a long, long time. So definitely recommend that you check out those boom arms. Now, once again, I want to jump over here, give a little shout out to Liquid Death. They sent me a bunch of these flavors. They got a mango flavor, lime flavor, berry flavor, and it's good. So I'm going to take a little Liquid Death break. It sounds kind of morbid, but they're murdering thirst. Super good water. If you haven't tried it, it's there in the carousel. My favorite one's in the carousel. It's just a regular sparkling water. So go check that out. All right, let's talk about, after I beat my mic up, let's talk about another piece of equipment that you should take a look at if you want more confidence on camera. Now, obviously, I'm not using this piece of equipment right now because I'm about to show it to you. But when I'm doing like Zoom calls or trainings, for a long time when I was doing this by sitting right here, I was using this device, but it's the Glide Gear TMP 100. And this is great because it'll work on any of these cameras I've been talking about and your phone. So let me grab it. So, oh yeah, there it is. Real nice and big shot. So this is a Glide Gear TMP 100, and this is a teleprompter. So imagine that your iPad is here, and you get an iPad. You can use like an app called like Yam Display is what I use. I put my iPad in here, and then it reflects in the opposite of, like so you can read it. Anyway, that whole teleprompter stuff is a little confusing at first because you're like, how do I flip my screen? But Yam Display, if you need a teleprompter app, go check that one out. But you put it on here, and you put it in there, and it reflects on the screen. Well, then your camera is mounted inside of here. So there's a little camera slide right there that you can mount your camera right to. You can put your own little adapters in there. I've done that for smaller cameras or for your phone, and it's all adjustable. So everything on here is adjustable. It'll move. It'll swivel. This thing actually breaks down and fits into its own case, which is really nice. So and it's really durable. Like, I mean, maybe I shouldn't say, hey, go do this, but I did it. I folded this up, I put it back in its case, and I traveled with it. I threw it in a suitcase, just with a case. There's no other additional padding or anything, and I thought, you know what? I have no other choice. If it gets broken, it gets broken. I'll have to figure it out. And it didn't break at all. The glass didn't break or anything. So the case, the padding, if you order this, be sure to keep the case. Be sure to keep all the foam inside because it comes in handy. And it breaks down really nice, and it's really easy device to kind of carry around. But once again, this sits in front of you, like so. I should have put that inside of there. But it sits in front of you like so, and you can talk into it and read stuff on the screen or whatever that's on your iPad will be on here. So I highly recommend one of these. I don't know that I can't decide if I wanted to put mine back on or not, because it kind of I don't know. I kind of like that raw, like looking off camera stuff. Like I really like consuming content that way. And when I went back and watched it when I was doing the teleprompter, I kind of got honed in on teleprompter. So no matter what, I'm just like staring, because I can see everything on the screen. I had all my notes. I had my, confidence monitor stuff. All that was like right there. So that was a thing. So anyway, if you need a teleprompter, that one's great. Love it. And I've put it on all kinds of tripods. The next tripod I'm going to show you is the Manfrotto. It's a compact tripod. Now this thing, I'm going to show it to you, kind of how I got it set up here. Let me bring this phone around again so I can, let's see if I got it right. 50-50 shot, got it there. Here we go. Let's see if it'll focus in. Oh, there we go. So you can see the ZV-1, and that has a quick detach thing. So you just like screw it on the bottom of your camera, and it'll quickly detach. That's how I was able to get it off there so fast. But you can see I have one leg actually on my table and then two legs down there. I usually have this camera mounted on my desk, but I needed a little adapter for something else, which I'll show you guys in a minute. But I've actually had that Glide Gear on this camera with the Canon EOS RP, with a 16 to 35 millimeter camera. And a lot of my buddies that are in the live streaming world who knew my setup are like, dude, that's insane, and you should never do that. But it does hold a lot. This is super compact, will fit right into your suitcase. You can travel with it, and if you need a quick, tripod solution, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I've been using it for, I think, over a year, and it's just it's been one of the best tripods, and it like really breaks down into nothing. So yeah, at that $64.24 price point, it is great. Like, it is one of the better tripods I've used. And one other thing that you need is this Cambit thread adapter. As you guys know, if you've ever seen this show before, I love this product. It's one of my favorites, and I need to order more because, like I said, I had to put that on a tripod because I didn't have it. But I'm taking it off right now. It's how easy it is to use. And I'm going to show you how it works. Ladies and gentlemen, the adapter. The only adapter you'll ever need for the rest of your life. Not really. Okay. But right here it is. That's it. I know it's not that appealing. But this will adapt from any like boom arm, standard boom arm, or microphone stand to a camera size, or how I've used it is I have a little phone holder here that you can screw this right into, so it's that same universal size. I can screw it into this little ball adapter here, so like this is doing that. I screw it into the bottom of this, and then I screw it into to one of these. So then I bring this boom arm down and I screw it right onto there. And now I have an overhead shot for something I already own, like an iPhone or whatever. So I have an older iPhone that I'm using that you could tell it was working flawlessly. And then I have my other iPhone, so I literally can hook all these up as a camera. But this one little adapter, or if you have a mic stand laying around, if you're a musician or a singer, but you need a camera stand, do it with caution. Make sure the stand is actually going to hold it up. But I've put on certain boom arms, I've put DSLR cameras, I've put all kinds of stuff, and had over the head shots. So let me show you. Let me just show you how this kind of worked out here. So you can kind of see how I use it. And so make sure I can get the shot back. Let's see. Okay. Let me see if this will work. Oh yeah, so a little bit opposite. Oh, there we go. Hold on, I didn't tighten up the thing. My little phone thing is a little messed up there. There we go. Okay, cool. So anyway, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. I got it the wrong direction, but a little overhead cam shot, and I can just turn that. With this adapter, I could just literally turn it sideways. So something similar to this, and then I can just lock it into place. Let me do this first, and I can just lock it into place here, and lock it into place there. There we go. I mean, it does take a little setup here. But anyway, yeah, so you can kind of see here. And then I can do all kinds of stuff. But I got my cable wrapped around, whatever. And you can just mount it up. You guys get the idea. There you go. Top-down shot. No big deal. So it takes, like I said, set it up before the show. Don't try to take it down during your show and then reset it up. That doesn't make any sense. Only I would do something like that. But anyway, so those are kind of the cameras I use, the stuff that I'm really excited about to share. So there's the cameras, there's some light stuff. So there's the Godox SL 60 watt in the carousel here. Let me bring it up. Now this light is, I've had it for I think I've had it for like a year, maybe 2 years now. And this thing is awesome. Okay, so it has this remote to it, and it's a huge. It's not a huge light, but the light sits on a stand, and then the softbox goes on there. So I got both of those on there. And what you want to think about is really the bigger the softbox, the more that you can break up this light source and get a softer glow, softer feel on your face. So, for me, the AC ain't working, so I'm a little sweaty, but I like this more. You can see the light source coming from here. So I like this more cinematic look where it's coming from like a 45. I get it up pretty high. I got it on like 39%, I think, right here on my remote. And it's just, and you can do all the temperatures. So I get it at like 5,500 Kelvin. And I can set up a different channel. So if I had different shows, like I have this studio space, if I had different shows, I can literally set up, different lighting looks for each of those shows. So highly recommend the Godox, or I don't know if it's Godox or Godox, or I don't know how they pronounce it, but super great light. And I would show it to you, but it's just a giant light. So that's it. But I did put the what am I trying to think of? The softbox part of it. The one I would recommend. Now, I don't have this one because when I bought it, I couldn't find it. But the one in the carousel is the softbox with the honeycomb grid. And this is awesome because with that honeycomb grid, it really kind of brings in the light where you want it, and instead of just kind of spreading it out everywhere. So in my studio right now, it splashes a lot on the back wall because I don't have that grid and it's not really controlled as to what direction it's in. So I would highly recommend that. This is what I would recommend for, for the light. So once again, if you guys are watching me anywhere, or wherever you're watching me, I should say, if you want to go to billythorpe.live, that's my Amazon Live account, and you can see all these products in the carousel, probably in my online store as well, minus a few that I haven't updated. But that is it. So kind of recap. I mean, we talked about the Canon EOS RP, which I highly recommend, but I'm getting rid of it because I bought a couple of the Sony ZV-1s, which are amazing for what I do. Once again, we talked about kind of those use cases. As I learned, I have the dummy battery that goes into AC power for my Canon EOS RP. I got a couple of them coming for these cameras because the camera shut off in the middle of the thing because the battery went dead and I didn't have the right thing plugged in to charge it. So learned my lesson again. You would think I learned it the first time. Talked about all kinds of Canon lenses. You guys can check that out. The ZV-1, the Shure SM7B, my mount, my mic stand here, Liquid Death, which is awesome. So go check those guys out if you haven't tasted that. Zoom PodTrack P4, the Glide Gear. I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything. The Manfrotto tripod, which I love. The Canvit thread adapter, which everyone needs. Just go buy those, okay? They're gonna change your life. You're gonna look at a mic stand. It's gonna be like, man, you can do so much stuff now. The Triton Fathead audio little adapter for the Zoom PodTrack P4. And anytime if you plug in a Shure SM7B and you're like, man, I just need more volume, more gain. I just don't have it. The preamps in your input probably aren't good enough. So you got to get one of these devices. And we talked about lights and the softbox. So I think that's it. I think I covered everything in the carousel. Really appreciate you guys joining me today. Once again, I try to do a daily show every day at 2 p.m., typically with other creators to encourage you and inspire you in your creator journey. And this week, I've really had a lot of fun doing more Amazon Live geared stuff toward Amazon Live. So appreciate that. Go to billythorpe.live if you want to check out what I'm doing on Amazon, because some days I will be producing, creating daily over there as well. So high five to everybody. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, go follow me at @TheBillyThorpe on Instagram. That's probably the best place for us to connect. Would love to answer any questions for you. And yeah, don't let this stuff stop you. Don't let gear stop you. There are plenty of amazing people and amazing creators out there who are educating you about, or can educate you about all this stuff, all this gear, how it works, and how to get your voice out there and how to get your message out there. So until Monday, go create something great. If you need something, let me know, and we'll see you later. Have a good weekend.